Yep.
Okay, this is Nicolas Logiotatos of 8.5, and Nicolas studies HISI, and there was a project that I'm going to ask him about. What was the project, Nicolas?
So in the project, it was project 2, and what we had to do is we had to create an Ignite. We had 5 team members, and we had to create an Ignite on the Industrial Revolution, and it ignites where 15 seconds. Each slide is 15 seconds, and you have to talk about your knowledge on a certain subject, and this was the Industrial Revolution. And each person got each team got a separate topic to elaborate on. And for example, my team got the movie by Carol Reed, which was Oliver, and we had to talk about Oliver and how kids lived and stuff like that.
Okay, besides the other things that you mentioned previously, Nicolas, about what you did in the project, what were some of the other things that you did?
Some of the other things we had to do, we had to complete certain benchmarks to complete the project, and then once we completed all the benchmarks, we used that knowledge in the final summative task. But one of the benchmarks was the formative task, which was a source analysis, and there were different sources that Sarah pointed us. And for example, I got a story by Charles Dickens, and what I had to do was I had to read the source and elaborate on the source and do a source analysis on that and submit it to Echo.
So Nicolas, what have you learned from doing that project on the Industrial Revolution?
So for project 2, I've learned a lot of different things. For example, how the world got so advanced in their technology was from the Industrial Revolution. All the inventions that they have today that were created in the time of the Industrial Revolution. For example, Graham Bell, he invented the telephone. So we wouldn't have the telephone or the iPad or an iPhone or computers or laptops, any of that today, if it wasn't for the Industrial Revolution, because they gave us because they started off with all the inventions. And there's in the benchmarks, one of the activities was we had to do a journal, and it was about invention is the mother of necessities, and that phrase basically means when someone struggles with something, they get an invention from it. So for example, maybe the inventor Graham Bell needed to talk to his mum, for example, who was overseas, so then that forced him or inspired him to create the telephone, and then he could talk overseas, and they didn't have to be in the same place to talk to each other. And the Industrial Revolution not only brought inventions, but they also brought bad things as well. For example, kids had to work in bad factories, and kids didn't get many rights and stuff like that. So it wasn't good for them. But there was an 1833 law that came into play in 1833 that talked about how kids got more rights, and the hours went from 12 to 14 hours of work for children to about 9 hours. So they still got a bit of rest and lunch and breaks and stuff like that. So it went better for them. Also in the Industrial Revolution, for example, in Oliver, that's a great movie where it shows the life of a child and how the children didn't get many rights and weren't treated as good. But for the grown-ups, the Industrial Revolution was really good, and there were many inventors and stuff like that. And also transportation improved a lot. The locomotive was invented, which is basically a car, but an older version of a car. There was steamboats, steam engines. So basically, without the Industrial Revolution, we wouldn't be where we are today with the advanced technology we have.